Hello students, I'm Dr. Liu from Jiangxi University of Finance and Economics. Welcome back to the class of International Macroeconomics. In the last class, I introduced you the pegs and float. Today, we will learn about how they work and how they break. Finally, resulted in exchange rate crisis. To start, let's briefly discuss some facts about pegs. First, the average duration of pegs were about 5 years. Second, the break of pegs usually results in a large and sudden depression. Third, we should make the causes and the consequences of exchange rate crisis clearer and avoid them later. Finally, shifting from floats to pegs generally leads to disaster. In this section, we will mainly talk about some facts about exchange rate crisis. Generally speaking, exchange rate crisis refers to a big depression. In section 1, we shall mainly talk about some facts about exchange rate crisis. Generally speaking, exchange rate crisis refers to a big depreciation. The definition of big is 10 to 15% depreciation for an developed country and 20 to 25% depreciation for a developing country. In the following figure, 9-1, we can see examples of specific countries. In 1990s, some developed and developing countries experienced exchange rate crisis, including Britain, Sweden, Finland, Thailand, Mexico, and Argentina, and so on. Remarkably, the depreciation rates of advanced countries were about 15 to 25%, while emerging economies' rates were at least 40%, even reached 80%. What's worse, we can see exchange rate crisis caused the deviation of economic growth in developing and developed countries. Developed countries were usually in better situations, and their growth rates after crisis were even faster than before. However, growth rates of developing countries were 2 to 3%, lower than before. And developing countries usually need about 3 years to recover. Exchange rate crisis bring about political costs as well. After crisis, there were higher probability of change in head of government and finance minister. According to statistics, the probability of head government change is 8% higher than normal time, and that of finance minister is 22% higher than non-crisis time. Moreover, in emerging economies with weak physical and banking system, exchange rate crisis often brought about banking and default crisis. For financial institutions, there were widely bankruptcies. For public sectors, defaults of government bonds increased as well. Thus, about 3 types of economic crisis usually occur at the same time. We name it as twin crisis or triple crisis. That means the happening of any one of them will probably induce another or other 2 crises. As a result, the cost of economic crisis are extremely high. In Table 9-1, we can find the cost of major banking crisis since the 1970s. Happened in numerous countries almost exceed 5% of their GDP. The highest one occurred in Indonesia, even reached 55% of its GDP. What is more, we notice most of the crises happened in developing or emerging countries, such as Southeast Asia, and South America.